to wait a little bit. Yes, he had a dominant laning phase, but as we go through this draft, I expect Vitality to put him on something a little bit more in the forefront of the game. We've already had one adjustment in bans, and that is the Shen being banned away from Prophet in place of the Elise. And with that goes the Rumble from Ninjas in Pyjamas. So no first pick Rumble for Vitality. We're going with something different.
We'll have some very different top lanes this time around. So back to Vitality for the last ban of this first phase. Will they stick with what they had been doing? It had been removing the Gnar, but it's not the case anymore because now, well, probably not the case anymore because now the Rumble's off the board.
But Gnar is still a decent pick should NIP want to pick it. Now Vitality don't even want to first pick the Thresh for themselves. We might see a first pick Tahm Kench because NIP, remember, took it away from Vitality in the last draft. We've had a significantly fewer AD carry bans in this draft, but with Caitlyn gone, might be the Ashe as well. There's a lot of picks that could be that higher priority than normal. Yeah,
well, the Elise was left open for the first time in this series, so that gets instantly snapped up. But as you suggested, this could give the Tahm Kench and the Ashe over to Ninjas in Pyjamas.
Now, this is a champion that everybody has prioritized in general. Generally, about 95% of games we have at least picked or banned. Joko has only played it once this split so far. It hasn't been a high priority for Vitality, but because they prioritize it here in this game, Tahm Kench goes away. Now we might see that Kha'Zix come through, same as last game out of the Ninjas in Pyjamas, but remember, no Shen available. The Ashe is on the board. Vitality can take it away in this rotation, but they have to find an answer to this Tahm Kench. Maybe the Braum that we saw a lot of people picking in Rift Rivals rose heavily in pick priority.
We'll see if Vander is up to it, but for the time being, they actually want to get themselves a top lane bully, Cabochard, on the Renekton this time around. And will they follow up with the Ashe? Will they follow up with the support pick instead? We'll find out. We got 16 seconds. Oh, the Twitch!
Interesting.
Yeah, that one didn't make it through the other bans as well. So Steelback, this is the champion that he was able to dish a ton of damage on in previous weeks when we saw him going in, dying a lot, but getting a lot done.
And you look at this, you got Elise Renekton pairing very well. No real surprise there, looking to snowball Cabochard in the early parts of the game. And then you've got Twitch in the skirmishes with Elise and Renekton, should be able to output a lot of damage. And Ashe, Tahm Kench will deal okay with Twitch, but shouldn't necessarily punish him so heavily that he won't get into this game. So for Nip, they kind of got a neutral bottom lane, but remember, it was all about those plays as the game opened up, utilizing the Tahm Kench, utilizing the Ashe Arrow for the Ninjas in Pyjamas for their second win of the split.
Yes, indeed. So it's back to ban phase 2, and with the seconds ticking away, they take off the Lucian. Don't want to give that one back over to Nukeduck once again. And now it's Vitality's turn.
So what are we looking at here for lanes? Support still needs to be picked up for Vitality. The Mordekaiser taken away. In the
context, did see it.
Yeah, the context on this one is Kikis played Mordekaiser, and it is the kind of matchup where against the Renekton you can kind of push him and farm and farm and farm, and you grab the dragon, you push down towers, you just do all sorts of things, and Renekton can't really cope with what Mordekaiser brings to the table.
So Vitality not wanting to let Cabochard fall behind with a lot of eggs in that basket to invest. With Cassiopeia taken off the board by Ninjas in Pyjamas now. We'll see what it is on Vitality's side. Do they continue to try and ban out top? So they instead focus towards the mid, try and take a bite out of Nagne's champion pool.
Nagne's champion pool has been pretty large. Difficult to ban him out. The Talia is available here, and we have seen him prioritize that when it is up. Obviously, NIP can pick their top laner here, something into the Renekton. Could we see something like a Jax that we've seen elsewhere, where you're playing for a scaling matchup, or are you going to flex? You can pick the Galio here, and then you're okay putting it in mid lane or top lane. The Jarvan is another matchup that you can play into Renekton.
This is what Prophet likes to do. When he can't get his hands on some of his favorites, he goes right in this direction. He can't get the Rumble, he can't get the Renekton, he likes the J4.
So Jarvan picked up, again, more team fighting. Look at it, side lane into joining a team fight here. Obviously has that Cataclysm. You can get the Ashe Arrow through as well. Sounds
very familiar, though. This is what Prophet likes to do. He's a side laner by trade, but now with Corki left up and available, Nukeduck could lock this one in, and he does. He's able to have a pretty big impact on that champion already, and now it is all up to see what the final choice will be. The support, is it going to be that Braum to pair with the Twitch?
Yeah, it would make sense here. Obviously, Tahm Kench, basically a neutral lane. Braum does the same thing, locks in. Now, does Nagne play Kog'Maw?
Ooh.
Does Nagne play Cogmore? Does he risk like a Syndra lane, which can do early on? Does he go for a standard matchup? Maybe a Galio that can just absorb the damage, join the fights, not play that damage threat in the middle lane.
Alrighty then. Well, as they swap things around, yeah, I know everyone's a little disappointed we're not seeing the J4 mid, but wouldn't be the first time, but it's been quite a while. Instead, Nagne on it.
They got till 20 seconds.
All right.
To swap it around. I think these are the lane setups that we actually are going to see. Galio basically just absorbs a lot of the damage that Corki outputs. Of course, the majority of Corki's damage is magic damage, and Galio does very well into magic damage dealers. So Vitality, however, top side, Kabashar, Joko, activate them in the early game, get through the laning phase in the bottom side and in the mid lane, and then the map kind of opens up for them. You've got enough to contend with NIP, but look, Galio, Tom Kench, you got Teleport on that Jarvan as well, Ash Arrow, NIP, similar type of style to the last game. Looking for those skirmishes, the numbers advantages, and then potentially looking to push through on those side lanes and get those towers down. They did a great job of the 1-3-1 in the last game.
Certainly worked out well for the Ninjas, and they were able to take their second game victory in the EU LCS summer split here. Can they make it into their first series over Vitality? That would be so massive for this team, trying to push their way up the standings, avoid relegation. But for Vitality, they need to hang on. They need to channel that game one control that they had to try and shut down these Ninjas before they get rolling.
And because we're in cross-group play, this is significant also for Mysterious Monkeys. They'll be sat at home wanting to see Vitality falling here. But as we head into game 3, it is down to this. One game separates Vitality and Ninjas in Pyjamas from winning this series.
Well, going out onto the Rift, we saw some early action both times, some shenanigans from Vitality. That looks like it could open up a lot of opportunities for them in the early game, but HiQ and Spraddle were able to hold on. And once again, on this Ashe, on this Tom Kench, they're going to be in a familiar position. Nukeduck heading down as well. Looks like we might just be in for the line of scrimmage, though. This would be the most standard start we've seen this series.
Yeah, it would be, because last game we saw the invade attempt on the bottom lane out of Vitality, and then HiQ used his flash at level 1 and still came out of the laning phase. Not too bad. But what I liked of HiQ, what I thought he did well, always using that Ash Arrow. Just trying to fire it out, get a fight started, get a flash, try and get somebody. And again, NIP have that Ash. I liked watching their play. I want to see them do the same thing again.
Yep, very priority choice here, as both AD carries have had a crack at it. But Steel back on this Twitch. As you mentioned, it's not going to be so much for that laning phase. I would love to see him going forward, getting the action, playing like he honestly did on that Ash in the later stages of the first game. But I also want to keep eyes on Shook right now, because this guy had a massive game too, because even though he was set behind, the team funneled around him, made sure he got ahead. He had a level advantage or 2 on Joko for most of the game.
So at the start of this one, you can see NIP are going to help out in the blue buff area. Phosphorus Bomb will come from Nukeduck on the Raptors. They'll allow Vitality to get Joko through the game early. Of course, Nukeduck looking for a little bit of acceleration in his build, starting Cull here, of course, as a starting item. 100 minions after you killed them, you get the gold. You sell the Cull. It's not too gold inefficient at all. You get a nice little extra bit of gold towards that Trinity Force. Should theoretically get him that Trinity Force a little faster.
Yeah, and Nagne's not going to really be able to stop it, right? Like, the guy's a big sponge at this point. So while Nukeduck may not be able to make those big flashy plays in lane, he's not going to need to. I mean, we've seen what he can do with the package Valk to cut off a team, separate everybody, and this is what Vitality are going to want to do when these team fights come rolling around. But in the laning phase, we'll talk about the top lane in a minute, because it looks like Spraddle was taking a little bit of damage level 1, but Kabashard's being the one who's already pushed in by Prophet. Yeah,
and Prophet has decent early game trading on this Jarvan. You can see hit level 2 early, had the ability to go aggressive towards Kabashard, and that was what Kabashard was respecting. But there's minions behind the wave here that Kabashard will pick up under tower. And now Prophet's going to try and find Joko.
Ooh, Joko might find him.
Yeah.
Base check right into the Cocoon. Double buffs here. Prophet's already at half health. Oh, no! Uh-oh, this could be trouble. And Shook's incoming.
Oh, Prophet, he skilled W. He doesn't even have his E.
Nukeduck!
Oh, no!
Oh, Phosphorus Bomb. First blood. Nukeduck smelling the opportunity.
Prophet had skilled W, so doesn't have the EQ ability to get out, and ultimately kind of ends his life there. He couldn't check over the wall with Standard and ends up dying. We talked about how it should be Cabochard and Joko. They'll, you know, at least Renekton and everybody knows you gank top lane. Well, now you kind of got a kill on your mid laner accidentally by it, but that's great for Vitality. They're not going to mind about that.
Yeah, I mean, Prophet, he looked like he was going to be safe if he had just stayed in lane, but he ends up ganking himself.
Yeah, Prophet is looking to place a ward down here, but Joko kind of expected this with Prophet shoving the top lane. One of the reasons you would do that is to move down into the jungle, place a ward, and then Nukeduck roams up, flashes forward, gets the kill. Easy pickoff. That's going to help him get that Trinity Force. He's nearly a quarter of the way through that cull as well.
Yeah, I mean, Nukeduck, he's got the eye of the tiger when he wants to go in for the kill, so that gold's certainly going to help him out. And the fact that he's kept up even with Nagne, yes, 5 CS down, okay, he's got the kill, so it doesn't matter. And it's a great start.
This is reminiscent of Game 2 with the amount that NIP are putting into trying to get Shook ahead of Joko, but this time it has backfired. Joko was spotted out on that ward as now Cabo tries to go into the jungle with him. But look at how low Shook is. Joko doesn't know this, of course, didn't have vision on him, but that means Shook cannot assist Prophet here. And Prophet with no flash.
He does know that Joko's there.
Yeah. Just has to be careful. Like, Shook, I don't even think... oh, God, if he goes in this bush.
Uh-oh.
He saw the ward get placed. Joko knows he is there.
Well, they might be setting up for 2v2 dive.
They haven't seen his health bar, so they don't know he's low.
Ooh, mind games. All right, so they don't go in for it. All said and done, just sitting on the first blood gold that they have right now. Checking back in with the mid. Nagne is able to get a Shield of Durand out, pushing Nukeduck back for just a little while. And
Nagne opting for the double Dark Seal. Of course, after the Doran's Ring changes that took away the mana, you can now build this Dark Seal. Gives you just more sustain on the potions, of course, that come through. But the one thing that Nagne will still struggle with is pushing. Galio used to be really good at just using Q, and you'd get double Doran's Ring, sometimes even triple, and you just constantly use Q and push the lane. You can't do that so effectively anymore, and that's one of the reasons why Nukeduck just goes cull and doesn't really care about this matchup. He can push it out, utilize the Phosphorus Bomb, get a lot of damage on the minion wave, and Nagne is forced to respond by trading his mana in response.
Yep. At least he'll have a lot of regen up thanks to those Dark Seals on the Biscuits. It gets a little bit extra that they still stack on, making sure that all the vision is nice and cleared away. I do want to see where Shook ends up going because he spent a lot of time up in that top of the low health bar. Once again, NIP trying to do their best to spot out wherever Joko is, despite the early first blood that Prophet fed over. That seems to be the key to keeping NIP in the early games.
Is investing in Shook, and then you profit. Everything will be great if you invest in Shook early, but Spraddle now exhaust onto Vander.
Oh boy, flash away.
Gets that flash, and again, we talked about how the laning phase should be somewhat neutral between the two. There shouldn't necessarily be any kills going on with the Braum, with the Tahm Kench. Everything should be just even, but now with that flash down, Vander has to be a little bit more careful. Joko cannot afford to clear that ward because they haven't seen Shook in so long. Shook could theoretically be on the top side on Raptors already, so you don't want to go aggressive, clear a ward in the face of a Jarvan and a Kha'Zix. That would be nearly suicidal.
Yeah, the unseen bug is often the deadliest, and while Vitality can't get eyes on him, it is a little bit rough for them. Even though they have this lead, it's all on just the first blood. Gold game, relatively even aside from that. It's just a few CS here and there that's really making the difference. And it seems like there's going to be a lot of tension mounting until we get to these level 6 points and we can start seeing globals come into play.
Both teams are going to be waiting on this. You got the Twitch, needs to wait for skirmishes. You got Corki, needs to at least wait for Trinity Force for Vitality. And the same can be said on the other side for Ninjas in Pyjamas and their composition. They are going to be more reliant on Prophet than Vitality will be reliant on Cabochard. Cabochard is building for lane, double Dorans now with a longsword on top of it. Prophet needs to dominate this lane. He needs to be able to go aggressive, control, and deal a lot of damage because he is one of the secondary damage dealers here for NIP.
Yeah, unlike last game, a little different. Now, Spraddle is going to find out Joko here, making his life a little difficult as he gets the lick on. Cocoon is going to land and stop up the red buff. For the time being, Spraddle really going all in. Now, Prophet, he's going aggressive, but he's a level down versus Cabochard, and with the Dominus on, he just can't afford to keep fighting.
And this is the difficulty because Jarvan will take over later. He's not going to be in control right now. And if Cabochard can accrue enough of a lead that when Prophet comes to the first few fights, he's not ready, he doesn't have the itemization, then Nip, they've got a Galio who's not going to do damage, you've got Shook who Vitality have tried to put behind, and then Hiku is the only damage threat that would remain. Could be a difficult thing for NIP to overcome if Prophet can't get himself into this game.
Yeah, somewhat narrows the win condition just a little bit. But we're still very much in the early phases of this game, right? It's very little difference in both teams waiting. We're just kind of trying to see who's going to come out with a little bit of an edge because we had talked about in the series, it's all been about getting an advantage in the early game. That's how these two teams had found relative success earlier on. But because they're waiting a little while, we kind of have to see if that's going to break out in any of these lanes. Teleport coming back up for Prophet on the top side, and Shook is here.
This cull for Nukeduck plus the first blood is going to line up near perfectly. Once he's got the 30 minions, the cull payout, that'll cover the recipe cost for the Trinity Force. He's a stinger away from that completed item. And this is quite a fast Trinity Force if this actually gets completed within the next minute and a half to 2 minutes is what you'd estimate, with 25 minions left to get. He's also got the package now, so can look for those aggressive plays, but look, there's nobody there for him to find from NIP. He knows that he's safe to do this because he can Valkyrie out.
I was about to say, where is he going to go, right? Like, does he look towards the bottom side and see if HQ and Spraddle start pushing up a little bit? Once he's got the Trinity Force, I mean, instead he burns the package just to kind of
farm the cull. He's going to farm the cull faster. He's just going to, I'm getting way too excited over that. Of course,
we've had some exciting farming this game.
Only has a low cooldown, so again, like Rift Herald, use it or lose it in that duration. It's able to help him farm out the wave.
Either team wants to give up the advantage for sure. Only first blood as we get closer and closer to that 10-minute mark. About 800 gold the lead for Vitality right now. Joko going a roving through the jungle, finds himself a control ward to clear away, and the crowd goes wild.
The crowd does go wild for the ward kills. Now, Vision controls top side. Again, looking to try and go top for Joko and Cabochard pairing together. This is exactly what we were expecting. It's not going to be about the bottom lane out of Vitality. Now, Shook walks over the ward that was placed. Cabochard drops back in the lane because NIP are trying to make a play topside. Look, Spraddle has his ultimate. Hikyu has his as well. Now we need to see the NIP we were talking about fighting. Nukeduck, he's got cleanse if he gets taunted here, so should be okay.
All right, Nagne forcing Nukeduck over the wall here, and now Spraddle with the Scryer's Bloom is going to spot the edge of Steelback's tail here as they try to push in the mini wave. Hikyu and Spraddle are going to be met by the duo lane. So, both teams matching each other really well right now.
Yeah, matching on the top side, no real gain to be had. And now with an Infernal Drake up on the map, you would anticipate a lot more emphasis on the bottom side, which Spraddle kind of throws a BM recall out, trying to bait Vander forward, because look where Shook is. If they can actually get an engage started, they might have been able to, as EQ was sitting in the bush, may have been able to pick up a kill for themselves, because Joko is on the bottom side going for that Infernal Drake.
Yeah, Shook has done a lot of this waiting around and trying to bait Vitality into going for the plays, but while it's all happening, Joko has had the opportunity to move around the map a little bit more freely.
And that's something that Shook in general does, is Shook will wait around a lane. He will sit back in a lane, in a tri-bush, trying to just counter-gank. It was something that Trashy did very well for Splice last year. Doesn't always have a lot of that impact that we need to see out of junglers. That's one thing that got exposed at Rift Rivals for Europe, is our junglers are not active enough or successfully active enough in the early game. Here comes the Ash Arrow, Tom Kenshin as well, and cut off Steelback.
They do find Steelback though, and that's a Glacial Fissure to knock up Spraddle, and they're trying to stack on the Acquired Taste, but it's just not enough as Steelback is going to be able to eke it out, but here comes Prophet to cut off the wave.
And on this one, NIP just shouldn't even wait. Just cast that Rift Herald in the top side and just push the tower with the next minion wave, because this is basically a guaranteed tower for them at this point. You can push it very quickly, but they're not actually pulling the trigger on that. Maybe they want to wait and use it in mid lane.
Shook isn't popping it.
Vitality, I mean, Vitality are going to keep Cabochard. There was an opportunity to get tower first blood off that Rift Herald, and NIP did not take it. We'll see if that pays off for them if they look for mid lane, because Cabo just took bot lane tower.
We have seen some suboptimal Rift Herald or lack of Rift Herald uses this series, that is for sure. So they lose out on tower first blood. NIP will be able to get the tower to equalize back, but a little slow on the draw when they had the opportunity.
One of the only reasons that I would look at why you'd do that is to try and punish mid lane when Nukeduck tries to recall here. If Shook heads to mid lane and tries to push out, because look, Nukeduck has got 20 minions more than his cull would have paid out initially on, but because Nagne has been able to push him out, they've stayed in the laning phase. Nukeduck didn't get that earlier spike on the Trinity Force. The last time he recalled was before 8 minutes in this game. So Nukeduck is having to stay in this lane to contend with Nagne.
He's been sitting for quite a while, and Shook looking to find out Cabochard within the jungle of Vitality, but still question marks that they haven't used that Rift Herald or hadn't tried to use that Rift Herald. And I'm wondering if it even is worth giving up that tower first blood.
And right now, Vitality, of course, have regrouped around mid lane to defend any kind of Rift Herald push. I say that Nukeduck actually is recalling, and it's going to be a Rift Herald push mid lane anyway, because Vitality have backed away. So Shook will cast it. they will get this mid lane tower. So as long as they get this, it's actually okay that they didn't use it in the top side. I would argue that giving away tower first blood to secure a mid tower would be enough, but they don't get it. Oh, that's painful. That's painful.
Yeah. Well, they tried.
So it's close enough that NIP will be able to get it eventually, but now I'm telling you it's not as worth.
Okay. So we finally see the end of this laning phase, but Steelback and Vander are going up to the top to try and collapse onto Hikyu, who does have this tower available, and Steelback opens up, throws the cask out. Instant heal from Hikyu, trying to keep this one alive, but now the rest of the team on either side is mobilizing. Spraddle and Shook waiting out in this brush as Nukeduck is looking to join his dual lane.
They're waiting to go aggressive with an arrow here. They have TP available for the Jarvan. It has been cast. Here comes the Tahm Kench potentially as well.
Okay, Nagne's going to cast the 2, but the tower's already taken down. The package Valk is out. A little slow on the draw. Double teleport's coming in. Spraddle. Oh, it's going to be a hero's entrance right now as he gets a double knockup onto Steelback. Shield of Duran to lock them up. A Cabochard has joined, and it is a party up in top. Joko getting the first kill of this fight. Cabochard coming up with one onto Shook as well. Vitality turning these tables, and now Nagne by himself. That's a double kill for Nukeduck. And Vitality coming up big.
That's the skirmish we were talking about, NIP needing to execute well. And look, Hikyu is hightailing it over to the middle lane just to try and get that tower down in response, because NIP used just about every global they had. Getting the Tahm Kench in, Spraddle flashing forward to make sure that Galio had somebody to target in that fight. And ultimately, Nukeduck ends up picking up 2 kills from this exchange against the package here. Means that Nukeduck gets himself into safety. Spraddle flashes so that Nagne can actually get somebody with that hero's entrance. And then from there, we talked about Cabochard will be a damage dealer, Nukeduck will be a damage dealer, and here comes the damage. Look at how low Shook falls. Prophet got a good amount of damage out, but it wasn't enough. Nagne, what is a tank if there's no carries around to tank for? And NIP really end up backfiring on that team fight.
Well, that opens the game right up for Vitality right now with that Trinity Force now on a BF sword as well. Nukeduck is starting to take off. Steelback, honestly, he did exactly what he needed to do and just kind of peppered away the damage, and it seemed like NIP just didn't have the focus. They weren't right together on the trigger.
And while it isn't the same performance in the laning stats with the CSD that Nukeduck had in game 2 of this series, you can see he heavily put Nagne behind. Well, he's heavily put him behind in gold in this game. Nearly 2,000 gold is the lead in that mid lane alone. 3 kills, 2 assists to his name, and that cull paid off great.
Well, considering Nagne's only died once, I don't think you completely can blame him for that, right? So it's really just Nukeduck coming up big, and yeah.
But when you're playing Galio, you need everybody else to win the game for you, basically, because you're going to get a good knockup in team fights.
And Steelback was going to get some good crits as well.
Yeah, just about. As Infernal Drake is coming out soon. Nagne needs the rest of his team to be doing more.
Yeah, unfortunately, NIP seem to be running around a little bit like headless chickens for the time being, and not getting a single kill in this game so far has definitely hurt them, put them far behind. Even though they pulled the trigger, they just weren't all together. Another Infernal spawning soon. Vitality have the map control. This might start to put the game really, really far out of reach for NIP unless they can get a miracle comeback.
Nagne opting for the Spirit Visage. One of the items that we do see people pick up in mid lane on this Galio. We've seen a bunch of different things that people pick up on Galio just in general. You end up getting Stone Plate at some point. A lot of mid laners typically end up picking up that Adaptive Helm, especially if you watch LCK when they play Galio in the mid lane. Adaptive Helm is very common. Spirit Visage, normally a little bit later on in the build, but isn't particularly a bad item against the magic damage that Corki brings. Doesn't help him all that much against a Renekton and a Twitch, and if Nagne is the only one left in the fight, not really going to do too much for him.
Yep. So now that Vitality's managed to pick themselves up another Infernal, that's 16% bonus AD and AP altogether. And they're not even 18 minutes into the game. It's starting to run away with it. We saw big Vitality leads. We've gone way past that point where they could possibly be losing it. So not happening in this game either.
There's one item I want to watch to see what the Nagne picks up, because it's a Faker solo queue special and also a Visachachi special. Iceborne Gauntlet. Galio, Iceborne Gauntlet. Faker does it, it must be good.
If they can slow down people and put them within range of Shook, of Prophet, of Hikyu, maybe that can start to tip fights. But the way Vitality are playing,
it would give him damage.
You're not wrong.
You'd add another damage dealer in the fight, but Nagne right now opting for the defensive route, of course. The problem
Pulling
is
some straws here.
Nukeduck opting for what looks to be an Infinity Edge as a second item is going to give him a significant amount of damage because, of course, when you critical strike, utilizing Corki's passive, it transfers it into magic damage, and that really is difficult because not a lot of champions do that much magic damage up front. And realistically, that's tough for Nagne to deal with, but Joko stepping close to the fire.
Joko. Oh no, it's the Ash Arrow, and they're going to collapse right on top of him. He goes up, he goes down onto the honey fruit. Let's see if he can get back to his team. He does.
That's why you want to eat lots of fruit and vegetables every day, Pirate. It gets you out of tricky situations like that. Very fibrous.
Don't you hate fruit?
I'm eating more now.
Oh, good.
I'm trying to get that.
For people that don't know, Stress like hates fruit.
What?
So
I don't hate fruit.
I'm glad that he's come around to the sensible, healthy living style.
I don't hate fruit. Wow, that is such an empowered reaction to food stuff. But wow, calling me out.
Yeah.
Broadcast.
Well, I mean, it's motivating you, right? I mean, clearly it's working already.
I'm gonna go home and just like eat a whole fruit bowl at this point.
Alrighty. Well, Vitality, they can certainly look to be happy and maybe lounge around just a little bit if they can keep this game going themselves. It's 5,000 in the lead. 2 Infernal Dragons. Wouldn't you know it, there's a third one that's eventually going to spawn, and they've got all the map control in the world. I mean, NIP, it seemed like they might have been able to get a couple of picks here and there, but nothing's panned out.
And the difficulty is now, Vitality's comp wasn't lacking in damage as it was. And now with the 2 Infernals you were talking about, Pyra, Vitality are in a great position. NIP really have to power up some of their defensive stats quickly, and they're not really going to have control of the side lanes. It's difficult because look at how neutralized they've been. Galio can't sit out there because not tanky enough to survive through. Jarvan will get engaged upon. 0-2-0 on this game. It has happened a couple of times already.
I mean, he's also not fast enough, right? He's still wearing the brown bags on his feet. So, unfortunately, NIP are a little starved in the gold game. And at 20 minutes in, I mean, this is going to hurt more and more as it goes on. But
what NIP have done once, and we need to see more from them, is just throwing out that Ash Arrow at somebody like a Joko that they can catch. It's difficult because Steelback will be able to stealth up and avoid a lot of situations. Braum is fantastic against Ash because can always just block arrows all the time. You can put Unbreakable up, nothing really happens after that. Yeah. And you can just get away. But Vitality can avoid a lot of the situations that NIP are going to throw at them. This is very similar to Game 1, where NIP won't have too many options unless they throw the kitchen sink at Vitality.
Yeah, I mean, it's good you mentioned Ashe, too, because it's been so crucial in this entire series, right? Like, when either of these carries have had it, it's been a big factor. Even if Steelback wasn't the one throwing out the arrows nearly as much as Hiku, we saw last game how powerful that can be.
Right, and Steelback in Game 1 on the Ashe, flashing forward, getting kills. High damage percent for Steelback. That's what we wanted to see from him, but Hiku has looked great at the same time, and the fact that NIP gave over, Vitality gave over the Ashe in exchange for a Twitch is a very good indicator of what Vitality are going for. Teamfight damage. It's not about engaging a fight for Steelback. This time, it's about making sure NIP go down and stay down.
Well, they were able to keep them on the back burner for most of Game 1. This is looking a bit more reminiscent of that. Although there were just no opportunities whatsoever for NIP to get involved. This time around, they have had a few. They just haven't been able to do anything with it. And this is a familiar tune we're seeing hummed right now by Vitality, looking around this Baron buff, keeping the vision cleared. It'll be a while before they decide to invest in that, but they do have eyes on it.
Steelback's reaching a point quite soon that is difficult to deal with for Twitch. Once he's got that Hurricane completed, you then go towards a static Shiv and that type of thing in the build, and realistically you hit Spray and Pray, Rat-a-tat-tat, just output damage in the team fights and continuously move around. That's one of the reasons why he's got those Ninja Tabi to survive a little bit longer. There's a Jarvan, there's a Kha'Zix, there's an Ashe. You want to reduce that damage, get back in the fight and keep yourself alive. Vandal will just sit in front of you and make sure nobody can get through.
Yeah. Able to protect him just well enough, but he's far from the only weapon that Vitality have. We've talked about it time and time again, but the damage threat is huge from Cabochard. The damage threat from Nukeduck is just going to keep growing right now, and he's got that Infinity Edge with the Trinity Force, has a Zeal as well. I mean, this guy, this is what we expected from him this entire series, and we're finally starting to see it come to fruition.
And for Cabochard, his build ultimately screams of being in that side lane set up against Prophet. Vanda angered the Baron after the W from Shook. So I want to talk about that build. Blade of the Ruined King is going to allow him to stick on top of that Jarvan. We talked about how Jarvan would also struggle to run away from the engage as well. And with such a good lead for Cabochard, Black Cleaver, Blade of the Ruined King completed as well, is enough realistically to hold Prophet in lane. And that's why Vitality keep moving that Renekton out to the Jarvan lane, keep moving the duo lanes against each other, and just trying to keep this lane set up for as long as possible.
Yep, keeping it all matched up right now well for Vitality. And wouldn't you know it, they're on top of the dragon, but Spraddle has brought Shook in. Can he be the hero? Get the smite steal off. They don't see him in behind this right now, but now they see Spraddle. Ash Arrow is not going to connect as Cabochard sliced away from it, but all of a sudden it's a bit chaotic as Joko's forced to flash the wall, and NIP are trying to pull a trick to steal away this dragon, I should say, but now the fight is going to be on for it here, and I don't know if NIP are confident enough they can take this one. It's Prophet who's caught up, but here comes the hero's entrance for Nagne as he turns in onto Cabochard. Dragon is angry in all of it, and it gets smited down by Shook. Critical for NIP, but they are going to give some serious lives for this one as Nagne flashes away. Shield of Duran followed by Vander, who picks up the kill in return. And now Shook is going to just give a little bit of taunt, but unfortunately takes the blast cone with Cabo. One slice, no dice.
Oh, Shook. He's running into a tower. Shook knows he's...
Oh! Hold on, can you get away?
I spoke too soon.
He's trying... Oh, no, not that way.
Hang
All right.
on.
Hold on.
Braum is running around. Hit the Yagami Sacks!
Oh, boy. Smites for the help. No, Shook, why did you do it? The ace! And that's going to be Baron.
Cabochard, he played with Shook for so long. He was in his mind. Shook, former Vitality jungler. Cabochard cuts him off, is able to know exactly what happened. We didn't see Spraddle die to Nukedug, but Nukedug picks up another tower. Now it's the Baron. Smite went early, doesn't matter. Nobody around for NIP to contest, and NIP try and start the fight again around the dragon. And yes, they steal it away, but still 0 kills for NIP.
This is what I wanted to talk about. Look at the scoreboard. All of a sudden, they get the dragon, but you gotta be able to fight it out.
Repel came up from Joko, was able to avoid the Ash Arrow, really just whiffing, and then Vitality go into the fight. They know if they take out Prophet, there's only one damage dealer left, and that's Hikyu off to the side. Nukedug can deal with him very easily, as Nukedug has such a good lead here. Spraddle can't get towards his AD carry in time to save them, and then Cabochard and Shook. Okay, we're just going to see Spraddle end up dying.
I mean, there's only one way this ends.
He's going to auto him, and Spraddle's going to die.
Okay. That
All the minions will get the kill.
Do we need to see that again? No, I don't think so. Okay.
Wow, that's a big stark difference in damage between these two teams.
I mean, this is the damage threats. They're on the base right now.
Yeah, Vitality looking to push. This is the composition difference with running this Galio. It can be good, it can work out, but now Spraddle said Vitality, they want to keep going.
Yeah, looking for Shook right now. He goes invis, and even Prophet's taking it up, and Nukedug flashing forward for the double kill. Forget the base, we're going for the ace, but Prophet hops in. He gets one kill off. That's a triple for Nukedug. Looking for the quadra. Can he go for it all? Looking for that penta on Nagne, and he does it. A pentakill for Nukedug.
Summer is the season of Nukedug, and Vitality are about to crush through NIP for a 2-1 series win.
Oh, they had some fun. NIP did, turning the tables in game number 2, but we're not even 30 minutes into this one. 15 kills, 10 of those belong to Nukedug, and they are on the Nexus turrets. Looking to close this game out, only Spraddle there, and he knows there is not much he can do. This is going to be it. Vitality just turn to take down the Kench, and they finish it off in style. GG Vitality.
The scoreline says 2-1 Vitality, but that third game was all about a clean win for the team, the French team. Vitality getting the win and realistically showing they are a step up on NIP.
100%. Not without some scrapes or scratches. They lost game 2, but they were able to close this series very convincingly. And when they get the comp they need, when they are able to play the style that Yamato seems to be bending this squad towards, they're finding success. This is their 3rd series victory here in the European LCS Summer, and yes, playoffs are a far cry away, but this team is certainly looking to start climbing up those standings so they can keep this level going.
We asked, give him something, not the Orianna. The Lucian looked good in game 1, the Corki looked fantastic in game 3.
We had to wait a few games before we saw the uber powerful Nuke Duck, but that pentakill, oh man, we get some LCS big plays after all.
He had his finger on the button, the ignition key was there, and signaled the launch in game 3 of the Corki, the Daring Bombardier. Nuke Duck looking great in that game. Vitality, just in general in this series, game 1 and 3 looking strong. Do have to take a stop and commend NIP for game 2, because they found a playstyle that worked for them. And again, you can see the improvements coming through from NIP as well. It's just not quite enough to be earning series wins here, and that's still a problem for NIP. Still 0 series wins on the board.
Yeah, but they did pick up a second game win. They've done it against Unicorns. They've now done it against Vitality. And this is, as we said, a lot of growth for this team. Obviously, it's going to be really, really rough for them to kind of climb out of that relegation zone, but if they can survive and if they can play like that, I honestly don't think they're going to have too much of a trouble against challenger teams and even might be able to knock off a couple LCS squads along the way. So we can see that once again, come spring, that could be a solid team. Right now, they're still growing.
Well, they got to keep going with this improvement. Got to keep stepping it forward with the compositions they're playing, but I think we just have to bring it back to Vitality.
Yeah.
Because they win the series and in 2 games look great. Deficio may have been off the hype train in game 2, but certainly he'll be back on it after that game 3 performance, because a lot better there. They neutralized Shook once again in the early game, got the kills, and then Nuke Duck just went, okay, I've got an early Trinity Force and Sorcerer's Shoes. Now it's my time to shine in this game.
And if you ever want to know how to make player of the series, that's how you do it. Get yourself that pentakill right at the end, and it is Nuke Duck who is our player of the series. I mean,
surprise!
Honestly, he's proving time and again why he is so valued by a lot of the other LCS players, why he's talked up by us right now, because he is having these impressive performances. Not all the time, but when he goes off, man, he goes off.
He really does. And I believe we're setting up for an interview with some of the Vitality players. A couple of players that we would just want to touch on before we get to that. Steelback looking better.
Yeah, his kill performance, and not just sitting in the back and kind of pecking away, his damage is actually getting much more consistent.
Right, he was being active, didn't realistically give up many deaths in the games. A lot of damage output, which is what we criticized Steelback for coming into today. That Jhin statistic with 14% damage was just completely obliterated by the Ashe over 30%. I'm pretty sure his Twitch damage was significant, despite not picking up a kill.
We don't even need to look at it. He got a lot.
Nuke Duck was the one that carried through in those fights.
Absolutely. So altogether, Vitality got the win in our first series of the week. So let's go ahead and send it over to Quickshot, who's ready with their bot lane.
Hey, what's up, guys? Thank you very much, Dracos, Pyra, and Stress. I'm joined here by Vander and Steelback duo lane for Vitality. First of all, congratulations on the 2-1. What happened in game 2, Vander? Why did you guys lose that one?
Well, I think our swapping wasn't that clean in the game. When we went top, we shouldn't have recalled and then pressure beat them up. And since we didn't do it, then enemy had like tempo advantage, and they have this Shen, LeBlanc, annoying composition that if it's ahead, and then we didn't have a good engage as well. So it was pretty rough for us to play 1v1. We tried to run it down mid or take Nashor, which we did, but then we misplayed the teamfight. So I think we had a chance on Nashor to win the game. But yeah.
Needed to win the teamfight.
They didn't play the teamfight correctly. And then we banned Shen and it was a bit easier.
Yeah, definitely showed. 26, 27 minutes stomp in game 3. Steelback, it felt like every AD carry was banned this series, especially game 1. I think there was 6 or 7 of them. Ashe was a talking point for the casters in the analyst desk. What's it like when you are the AD carry and there's so much focus on your role and you have to go all the way down these tier lists?
Well, yeah, when I saw the first game, there were so many bans, and actually the bans were on my main ADCs, so I had to fall back on Ashe, which I didn't practice that much. But yeah,
we play tomorrow, Fnatic, don't say it.
but I played. I think Ashe is pretty easy to play, so I don't think you need that much training on it to be good.
Well, it definitely showed. Your game 1 performance is fantastic. And Steelback, there's a lot of talk around your gameplay at the moment. A few weeks back, we looked at some of the damage problems in Vitality. Now, it's not only something that's related to you, it's with the whole team. What's it been like having a slow start to summer and now ramping up after a pretty good win?
Well, yeah, our early in the split, it was kind of hard. We didn't have that much synergy, so maybe sometimes we're team fighting without me, so it was like hard to be together. But now I felt after this week of Scrim, I felt really confident in coming today games. So I'm actually happy because now I feel that we are a strong team, and I think we can actually go to playoff if we keep working like we do.
Well, the chances are definitely there. Your guys' record now is 3-4. Splice currently have 4 series wins. They play G2 tomorrow. If they lose that and you guys beat Fnatic, I mean, it's a really close race. Vanda, are you guys going to playoffs? I mean, you mentioned the Fnatic series. You'd have to win that, win against UOL, H2K when you look further forward.
I don't know about playoffs, but we're gonna work hard and then see what's gonna come for us. Like before, previous week, before the Rocket game, when 1 and 4, we were focusing on just securing our sweet vacation spot. But I think we are doing a good job, so maybe we can aim for more now. And obviously, we will do our best to get to playoffs and beat some better teams, since we only beat the weaker teams so far in the league.
Yeah, it definitely seems that case. Fnatic on Saturday, as you're giving a wave to Odo. Who is going to win on Saturday between you guys and Fnatic? Will today's version of Vitality be strong enough to beat them?
If we play like game 2, we probably won't win. But like if we play the same as we played in the game 3, we have a good shot. We could watch them during the Rift Rivals a lot. And I assume they will change something, because it didn't work out against NA teams. And Fnatic, they want to have a strong showing internationally, right? So they have to change something, and they will test it on us, and we'll see if they can do what the new thing good enough.
Well, let's see if they surprise you. One last question, Steelback. Today, you were the target of a lot of bans, managed to show through. Vanda mentioned maybe Fnatic changed something. They've shown they don't really care about changing their AD carry priorities. That's something that's been very true. Do you think after Rift Rivals that's something the team will change and that you need to be ready for when you face off against Reckless?
Well, yeah, Fnatic usually play weak bot lane on lane, so that's their weakness, I would say, but they're really good at doing that, so we still have to play around that, because they play weak bot lane, but they always manage to go even, so then in teamfight they will be more useful. So I think if we just play the lane good, we will get ahead on bot lane versus Fnatic.
Very excited to see how that match plays out. Guys, congratulations on the win today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to head to an ad break, and when we come back, H2K take on Roccat.